Winston Peters.
Speaker, I move that the English language bill be now read a first time, and I nominate the Justice Committee to consider the bill. This bill seeks to formally recognise that English is an official language of New Zealand and legislation. English has long been the predominant language of government, education, people with some brains, commerce and daily life in New Zealand. It is spoken by around 95% of the population. It has never been formally recognised in statute as an official language. This bill seeks to correct that anomaly, providing consistency in legal framework and clarifying the status of all three official languages in legislation. The bill does not diminish the status of other official languages, Te Reo Māori and New Zealand Sign Language, but rather complements them, acknowledging the linguistic reality of our nation and affirming the value of English as a shared means of communication used by the mass majority of the population. I'll say it again quietly, used by the mass majority of the population. The bill reflects commitments made in the New Zealand First National Coalition Agreement to legislate for the official status of the English language. English will continue to be the predominant language used in our courts, Parliament and government. This bill provides clarity and certainty. The purpose of an introductory speech is that some ignoramuses like you might learn why the bill is being brought in the first time. So be patient. For the next 8 minutes, you're going to hear them all, and a bit extra. This bill provides clarity and certainty.
Point of order.
Yeah, I was just about to, I know what the member's going to say, and I was just going to advise the Right Honourable Winston Peters to be careful about calling names of, I'm not sure who it was intended at, but it was certainly intended at an individual, and I'd ask the member to refrain from that type of language. Thank you. Just use plain language, English. Thank you.
The bill provides clarity. Well, I know that some people have limitations when it comes to our language, but I'm not one of them. The bill provides clarity and certainty in legislation of the official status of the English language in New Zealand. This affirms in legislation that New Zealand has three official languages. Madam Speaker, other jurisdictions have taken similar measures to recognise, such as English, as an official language, including Canada, Ireland and Wales. This indicates the importance of providing for the official status of a language in legislation to ensure a country's official languages are respected and supported in public life, for more importantly, it is what the people in the mass majority of this country want. This bill is an important clarification of the official status of the English language in New Zealand in legislation. This bill not only clears up a long-held assumption that English was already an official language, but importantly also serves very practical applications. With the increase in recent years of Te Reo to be used in place of English, even when less than 5% of the New Zealand population can read, write or speak it, it has created situations that encourage misunderstanding and confusion for all for the purpose to push a narrative. We have some very real situations now where communications and names of important services using Te Reo as primary names and language. The room for confusion and miscommunication is huge. We have alarming examples of our essential health services in hospitals and online, and that former minister should know that. First responders on their vehicles and communications not being able to get to places because they don't know where they're going. Transport services with important road songs. They have all announced that, but of course over there, being the elitist specialists they are, they ignore ordinary hard workers. They think they know better. Transport services with important road songs. And even an example of the important maritime navigational chart place names being changed to Te Reo. In recent years, more and more place names, bays, headlands, safe anchorage points, and key navigation points have shifted from English to Te Reo on electronic charts, and the English name only becoming visible once you are physically within a bay or know precisely where to look. This is getting patently ridiculous. Here's a real example of the risk and the consequences of not using the language that the mass majority of people in New Zealand understand. I was sent the following example privately just recently. Quotes, during a recent experience entering the Bay of Islands and on an increasingly stormy January day, after an 11-hour coastal passage, the issue became significantly more perilous. Still, several miles offshore, in deteriorating conditions, the lack of clearly visible, well-recognised English place names on the latest electronic charts made orientation far more difficult than it should have been. We're navigating... See, that's a laughing matter over there. I just heard this so-called lawyer from the Christchurch thinking it's funny. He thinks it's hilarious. Yes. No. Let me tell you, I was a far more successful lawyer than you, Sunshine. Oh, yeah. About 10 times more successful.
Back to order. Back to the bill. I know it was provoked, but
we're navigating unfamiliar waters. The inability to easily identify known safe anchorages by not being able to immediately orient yourself against recognised place names such as Russell adds another level of risk. These names do appear once you zoom right into the fine detail, but when you need to see a broader area to plan an approach and those landmarks are not visible and are instead named in te reo, it can be both distressing and dangerous. In our case, daylight was fading, 40-knot winds and 2.3 metre seas were forecast, and conditions building. And we needed to find safe harbour promptly without placing further stress on crew and family. That includes Maori on the boat as well. How do you like that? Madam Speaker, these changes to place names on navigational charts can only have come from government departments such as LINZ providing name changes. This form of dangerous and nonsensical totalitarianism is a reminder of the old Soviet Union. You should love this, being a pinko, being a communist, you should love this. We're out of touch.
Point of order, Honourable Kira McAnulty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a long-standing and consistent convention in this House that members must not refer to others as communists. That has been upheld consistently from speakers throughout my relatively short time in this Parliament. It should not be permitted.
I agree with the member, and I think the Right Honourable Winston Peters should refrain from the name calling and focus on the piece of legislation.
Madam Chair, I was reading from his CV.
No, that's...
Oh, yes, no, I'll table the CV.
Yeah. No, that's not relevant.
Let's go then. Let's go.
And if the member wishes to continue with this line of conversation, he will withdraw and apologise. Otherwise, he will go straight back to the bill.
Okay. This form of dangerous, nonsensical totalitarianism is a reminder of the old Soviet Union, where out-of-touch bureaucrats were building, costing and installing chandeliers based on weight for production bonuses rather than shape and design. And as a result, ripping the ceilings out of buildings because they were too heavy. And the then President Khrushchev, upon finding this out, asked this question: for whom is this illuminating? As for whom are the circumstances we now finding ourselves in with the use of te reo as a means of important communication now illuminating what and exactly? That's what happens when cross purposes defeat the public good. This bill won't solve the push of this virtue signalling narrative completely, but it is the first step towards ensuring logic and common sense prevails when the vast majority of New Zealanders communicate in English and understand English in a country that should use English as its primary and official language. I commend the bill to the House, and for that member over there, I'll next time bring some pictures to show what I mean.